locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
So what you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?
It's like my entire childhood just flashed before my eyes, and it was now ruined.
Oh my goodness! But what did you think, man? That's Hulkamania right there, Hulk Hogan.
Did you ever try to rip your shirt off like Hulk Hogan when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
A, your mother was mad at you, and two, it never worked. Right?
Well,
it would tear right up till it got to the collar part, and it would just get stuck.
Well, you know, the thing that I learned as I got older, and this was years later.
Were you still doing this years later?
I was still trying. Hogan would actually cut the top of his shirt.
Oh, he would just have a little...
He would have a slit.
To get him started.
Bingo. So he could just rip it right
So
off.
It was more brains than brawn at that point.
That's it.
We weren't catching on as kids.
I'm telling you. Well, listen, welcome to Duke Loves Rasslin. I am the Duke, and yes, I love doing pro wrestler impersonations, and I'm going to keep doing it no matter what my illustrious producer, the Boston Badboy, says.
We'll see about that.
Hey, listen, I want to tell you folks, we got a special announcement here. The Boston Badboy, Mr. Big Shot over here, he's a little under the weather today.
You know, it happens to the best of us. You know, sometimes you're a little under the weather, you're just not feeling with it. You know, you come in, you put your best foot forward, you get the show done. And just, you know, my energy level isn't where it needs to be to go against your insane things.
Yeah, excuses. You know, later in the show, we're going to find out exactly what's ailing you there, Jack. But listen, folks, we're so glad you could join us again for this episode. We have another set of your fan-submitted questions, a.k.a. Ask Duke. We also have two up-and-coming future stars in the world of pro wrestling. We're talking about Alexa and Brianna, Sugar and Spice. They're going to join us to talk about training in pro wrestling and so much more. You know, that'll be a really fun interview, by the way. I really can't wait. All of that plus another edition of Run the Ropes. But before we get to any of that, I want to thank you. That's right, you, all of you listeners out there for listening to Duke Loves Wrestling and spreading the word. I mean, listen, if you haven't already, head over to YouTube, head over to iTunes, hit that subscribe button, give us a 5-star rating, and more importantly, share. We want to reach each and every one of you out there. We want to get the word out, give you top-notch interviews. It's all about Duke Loves Wrestling and you, Duke's Wrestling Crew. It's time to run the ropes. It's where I give my opinion on the top 5 stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. Can anyone stop Chief AramMir? That's right. Word on the street is Chief AramMir, the greatest wrestler in the history of Kingdom Wrestling Federation Thailand. He's ready to make a huge impact at WrestleStar III. Now remember, that's the 2-day pro wrestling extravaganza taking place on November 18th and 19th. That's live at the Pattaya Boxing World Stadium in Thailand. Now, Chief AramMir, he is going to be teaming up with the lovely, the talented Paulina. They're going to be taking on the Eurasian Dragon and Tyra in a mixed-person tag team match. It's going to be nothing but pain and destruction. Just like my man, Big Sam, okay? Big Sam over at Middle Kingdom Wrestling, he's also set to knock some heads over at WrestleStar III. And I'm telling you right now, listen, that punk, the Selfie King, he just had his birthday. Let me give you some advice, Selfie King. Instead of trying to kiss up to the fans out there, since it's your birthday there, what you really should be doing is focusing on WrestleStar 3 and the pain and destruction you're going to feel from the likes of Big Sam and AramMir and everybody there, because you're nothing but a punk. All right? You heard it from me there, folks. Check out Middle Kingdom Wrestling over on YouTube or MiddleKingdomWrestling.com for more information about WrestleStar 3. Terry Funk officially retired. Word making the rounds is the hardcore legend Terry Funk has officially hung up the boots, folks. Okay, he was at the House of Hardcore, which is Tommy Dreamer's Pro Wrestling Federation. There he gave a very heartwarming retirement speech. Now look, I know the Funker has retired many times before, but this is a little different. The guy's 72 years old, and even though he's tough as nails, I mean, he is Texas through and through, he just can't do it anymore, folks. That is the end of it. Terry Funk's bump card has been filled out. He's finished. And I, for one, am happy about this. Terry, do not step foot in a ring again, please. I beg of you. The last thing we want to see is for you to get hurt out there. Enjoy retirement. TNA signs 2 former WWE talents? Well, that's right, folks. The lovely, the talented Brandi Rhodes, the woman formerly known as WWE announcer Eden Styles. She's officially signed a contract with TNA. But get this, she also brought along her husband, Cody Rhodes, a.k.a. the man formerly known as Stardust. This is great news because, you know, Cody gets a chance to mix it up with some very talented people out there in TNA. Guys like Lashley, even guys like Mike Bennett, the Miracle, EC3. So there's some compelling matchups going on. But what I'm really interested in is Brandi Rhodes. She is actually going to wrestle. Can you believe that? Who knew she had it in her? Folks, there's some concern, though. There's some big concern because the most destructive force in all of pro wrestling, Sienna, she dominates the knockouts division in TNA. I have begged Sienna, okay? I have begged and pleaded with her, please, do not hurt Brandi. I actually had to try to bribe her. So, listen, I told Sienna, I will send you a cup of David's tea, the best tea in the world, because she loves tea. You know that, pinky's up. If she promises not to touch Brandi. You know what Sienna said to me? You know what she said to the Duke? I'll think about it. Are you kidding me, Sienna? So, listen, I had to up the ante here because I'm very concerned, folks. So if you head over to Duke Loves Rasslin on Twitter, you'll see a photo. I have a photo of David's tea. I have a photo of a David's tea tea ball, and even my world-famous peacock cup. Sienna will get the whole package if she promises not to touch Brandi. Because listen, Brandi is pro wrestling sweetheart. Okay, we all love her. We would hate to see anything happen to her. And Sienna, she is really the most destructive force in all of pro wrestling. So I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, Sienna, please leave our Brandi alone. If I have to put together a petition, I'm going to do it. Don't touch her. Speaking of TNA, WWE puts in a bid to purchase them? That's right, folks. You heard it here. Word around town is WWE has put in a purchase for TNA. Okay? They want to buy the company, shut it down, and get that tape library. I, for one, am very supportive of this. You know why? Because TNA is not worth anything but their tape library, and you can take that to the bank. Clash of Champions this Sunday. That's right, the Raw brand is putting on the Clash of Champions. That's happening live this Sunday on the WWE Network. Get this. Kevin Owens, the Universal Champion, he's taking on Seth Rollins. I hope, I pray Kevin Owens knocks the stuffing out of Seth Rollins because I can't stand that guy. And I'm telling you right now, Seth Rollins, you're a danger in the ring. If you do anything to hurt Kevin Owens, we're going to send in Brock Lesnar to give you the Randy Orton treatment. And you know what that means, Jack. You've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Head over to Facebook and Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin. Let me know. Do you think that I'm a fool? Do you agree with me? Maybe something in between. You got it. You say it. That's right. And that does it for Run the Ropes. Up next, our exclusive interview with future pro wrestling stars, Sugar and Spice.
You're locked in to Duke Loves Rasslin. Join Duke's Rasslin crew on Facebook for more exclusive content. Now, back to the show.
We had a great talk with the Professor Dusty Wolf last week on the show. I mean, hey, Dusty's a real veteran in the pro wrestling business. He spoke about everything from wrestling Hulk Hogan to flipping around with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Head over to Duke Loves Rasslin on iTunes or YouTube. That was episode 23. You can hear Dusty's insightful interview. Now, this week, folks, we have a real exclusive here. We're talking about two up-and-comers. All right, these young ladies, they've been putting in some serious work over there, learning from Rudy Boy Gonzalez over at the Texas Wrestling Academy. Welcome to the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, Alexa and Brianna. How are you, twins?
We're doing good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, no problem, no problem. This is so exciting, I'm telling you, because we've interviewed so many veterans in the world of professional wrestling. So to be interviewing you two, folks who are just starting off, just training, this is really cool. Now, before we really dig into the meat and potatoes of this, I got to ask this question here. Who is the baby face and who's the heel out of the two of you?
Oh, man.
Simple.
I think I am. Yeah, I'm definitely the heel.
So who's I? Wait. Who's I here? Wait, there's two of you.
Alexa is the heel. And Brianna's definitely the baby face.
Oh, so Alexa has that little mean streak in her there, huh?
Yeah, I got a little spice, and she's sugar.
Oh, nice. Sugar and spice. You know something? That should be the name of your tag team right there. Okay?
That's actually a really good idea.
Absolutely. Sugar and spice. I can see it right now in the bright lights there on the Titantron. Man, all you need is just some great music and you're ready to roll there, huh?
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. So listen, you two are currently wrestling, well, you're training in the Texas Wrestling Academy with our friend Rudy Boy Gonzalez, the trainer of champions. What's the hardest part of training to be a pro wrestler?
Definitely the sacrifices, I think. I mean, as soon as you make the decision to be a professional wrestler, you're automatically going to go and start making some sacrifices. Like, you have to dedicate a lot of your time to this, especially if you want it, like, so bad. So, I mean, sacrifices is definitely the hardest thing. Also, like, staying on track. Even though you want something so bad, there's still, like, a part of you that kind of questions it sometimes. So you got to kind of, like, keep your mind set to it and just keep going. And I think, you know, having Rudy as a trainer really helps us get through it because he's always, like, motivating us to do everything. And so, I mean, that's my answer. What's yours, Brianna?
Yeah, it's just keeping the mindset of wanting it and just maintaining your drive. Like, once you've got your foot on the pedal, you keep going. You don't ever stop. Don't ever slow down.
Wow, that's really sage advice from the two of you there. Now, when did you determine that you wanted to be pro wrestlers?
Whenever we were 14 and watched Monday Night Raw for the first time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now, when you watched Raw for the first time, just give us an idea, because now we're going to date you. Now we're gonna talk about your age a little bit here. Give us an idea of who you saw when you were 14 watching Monday Night Raw.
The first match we saw was the Usos and Tamina versus the Hart family.
The Hart Dynasty.
The Hart Dynasty and Natalia.
Oh, my goodness. That was, what was that, like 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, that was 2010.
Oh, my gosh. So you ladies are pretty young, huh?
Yeah, we're 20 years old.
Wow. 20 years old. So you, and you're fresh, you're still actually at the end of your training in wrestling school. Is that correct?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we've been training for almost 4 months, and you know, we're learning pretty fast, is what he's telling us. So
that's amazing.
I mean, we'll see.
That's amazing. 4 months of training, and here you are, getting real close to making your pro wrestling debut. Now,
I'm so excited.
Let's dial it back for a second, because we have a lot of our listeners who are really curious about breaking into the pro wrestling business. They want to learn what you have to do once you find a school and what have you. Some people take out a loan to pay for pro wrestling school. Other people come from families that have a lot of money, so, you know, their parents will pay for it or something like that. Other people, you know, maybe they work a couple of jobs or what have you. What did you girls do in order to build up the funds to even pay for pro wrestling school?
Work. Yeah. working constantly. Like, we got a lot of overtime, saving our money, and just, I mean, it's hard to save money. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I guess just because we wanted it so bad, it helped us kind of save it. We just opened up a savings account and just saved it all up. And then we're originally from East Texas, which is 6 hours away from where we are now.
Wow.
So we also had to save up to move, which was also hard. I mean, it took a while. It did.
Wow. So you really were following your dreams. You actually moved closer to the wrestling school?
Yes, we did.
Wow, that's a huge step. So this isn't playtime here. This is really a serious dream that you ladies are pursuing.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
It's very serious. It's, again, maintaining the drive, you know, like whenever you're working and, you know, you're not having a good day working or you really don't want to go into work, you have those days. It's just you got to think about what you're working for, and that really helps you get through the day.
Wow, that's great. I mean, you sound so wise beyond your years, the two of you. Now, when it comes to pro wrestling, it really is an athletic exhibition there. You know, I still call it a sport myself. But the folks who tend to do very well, they've had some type of athletic background. For instance, your trainer, Rudy Boy Gonzalez, he played football when he was younger. And that really prepared him for the punishment that he would take in wrestling and be able to bounce back. What are some of the sports that the two of you played when you were a little younger?
We played everything from basketball, volleyball. We did some cheerleading in middle school. We played track.
We did soccer.
Soccer, yes.
Yeah, we did. We've been doing basketball and soccer the longest, probably since we were in Little League. We were playing basketball and soccer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 years old.
So, did any of those sports in particular prepare you for the bumps that you're taking as you're training there?
I think all of them.
Yeah, I think the most
sports.
Yeah, I think the sports that helped the most were definitely volleyball and basketball. And I know volleyball is kind of like a weird answer because, I mean, it's not really a contact sport, but you do dive a lot in volleyball. You dive for the ball constantly.
Roll and all that stuff.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Now, listen, when you're out there training, all right, so one of the things that folks have to do is they have to run the ropes, which is literally bounce from one end of the ring to the next and keep going. It's a tremendous cardio workout there.
Yes, it is.
And then you have to take what's called a flat back bump, where literally somebody lifts you up in the air and flips you over, and you have to land flat on your back.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the first time you had to run the ropes and then take a flat back bump. What did that feel like?
Ooh, there was definitely a lot of bruising. Running the ropes for the first time, I mean, eventually you got to get it down in 2 steps. So at first, of course, we're running it in like 4 or 5 steps. But, I mean, hitting the ropes for the first time, it's
a little scary.
It's scary because you gotta trust the ropes and you gotta trust the mat, and that takes a while to gain, like that trust. So at first, you're like a little timid, and then when you hit the ropes, it hurts a little bit. Eventually, you just get used to it. Same with the mat. When we first hit the mat, we were like, "Whoa!"
Wow.
It literally feels like you're in a car accident. I mean, I know that sounds kind of scary, but like that's what it feels like. It's pretty tight. Yeah.
So let me ask you, and Brianna, I'll ask you first here. What do you do after a day of training? Like, how do you rest your body after that?
Well, after training, the first thing I do is grab a bite to eat because I'm always starving. And whenever we get back home, my sister and I, we sit back, we watch TV, just kind of relax, not move around too much. I usually take a really hot shower, and then like the last 30 seconds, I'll make it super cold.
Oh wow!
So, just kind of relax. It's like kind of a relaxing type thing that I do every night, just to, I don't know.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, hot and cold therapy are definitely great ways to rejuvenate the muscles. So that's a wise move there. What about you, Alexa? What are some of the regimens that you go through after training that really helps you restore your body to get ready for the next time?
Well, same thing. I grab a huge bite to eat.
Do you love food? Listen to this. That's right.
Yes, we love food. Food, definitely. And I just, I kind of sit down, relax. Any part of my body that's sore, I just, throw some ice on it for about 30 minutes. And then I take a hot shower. I don't do the hot and cold thing that she does.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
that sounds pretty good. I should start doing that.
Hey, listen to that. Look at that. You two are learning from each other. Folks, we're talking to Alexa and Brianna, a.k.a. Sugar and Spice. They are the twins who have been training in the Texas wrestling with Rudy Boy Gonzalez, and they're almost at the point where they're going to be making their pro wrestling debut. So this is an exclusive interview with Sugar and Spice here. It's pretty cool. Now, listen, I've done my research here, and Alexa, word on the street is that you are a Panda Express connoisseur. So
I am.
I have a question, and I know all our listeners got a big one here. If you could give our listeners an Alexa dinner here from Panda Express, what would be your 3-item combo? What would you have in there?
All right. So I'd start off with a plate. I'd throw some of the chow mein noodles on there.
Ooh.
Those are my favorite. I love them.
Okay.
And then I'd put in, right now, Panda Express is promoting their new General Tso's chicken. And that kind of grew on me. Now I love it.
Mm.
So I'm going to throw some of that on my plate as well. And then I think definitely the black pepper chicken.
Ooh, the black pepper chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I love that stuff. And then I'd throw in some veggie spring rolls and then some sweet and sour sauce, and I'm set.
Okay. Listen, Brianna, come on. What do you got? I'm sure you have a 3-item combo of your own there.
Yeah, okay, if we're wanting to get healthy, I've got a plate with veggies, teriyaki chicken with some protein, and some white rice, and that is my plate.
Oh, boy. So listen to this one here. I can tell who's the heel and who's the baby face. Well, one of you is trying to talk about all this healthy junk and what have you here, while the other one is like, listen, man, give me the chow mein noodles. Let's go here. Okay. I could already tell the personalities going here. Boy. Now, just getting back to the action here, because, first of all, a complete meal is very important. You both are burning off so many calories. You have to replenish. You have to replenish those calories in order for you to continue to build your muscles there. So that's very wise on both of your parts. And, hey, Panda Express, not a bad idea. But when we talk about the training, what are some of the moves, Brianna, that you feel the most comfortable with? Are you, maybe even a signature move that you're starting to lean towards as you progress in your training?
Well, the moves that I'm more comfortable with, it's strange because I'm more comfortable in doing in taking bumps than doing the actual move. I like to hit the corners. My sister hates hitting the corners, but I love hitting the corners. And I also like to do a lot of flips. I like to do the monkey flip and and also I like being suplexed. I don't know why.
So you're definitely somebody who likes to shine your opponent up. You want to take some bumps to help make them look good there. Which, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, some of the greatest workers in the history of the company. I mean, the history of the world, like Ric Flair, for instance, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, they would really shine their opponents up there. So that's pretty cool.
They would. Yeah.
All right, let's tag in your sister now. What about you? What is the wrestling moves that you're starting to get most comfortable with now?
I definitely like headlock takeovers, putting people in arm bars, ankle locks, chin locks. I like being the one who shines.
Whoa, excuse me, boy. Yeah. Now wait a second. So when you're out with your friends, are Alexa, are you putting people in headlocks if they look the wrong way or something like that? Are you trying to show them hammerlocks or something?
I mean, yeah, when my friends, they look at me the wrong way, I go ahead and put them in a little headlock.
Now, what about you, Brianna? Are you the same way, or are you a little nicer than that?
I tell them before I do it. I'm like, and it's usually people I work with.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
like, hey, you want me to put you in this block? They're like, okay.
Nice. So what do the guys say when, Brianna, when you tell them that you're training to be a pro wrestler? How do they react to that?
Well, everybody usually gives the same reaction when I tell them what I'm doing. They usually look at me like, really? And I'm like, yep. They're like, but you're so small. I'm like, it's okay. Size doesn't matter. You can get in there and kick ass. It doesn't matter what size you are.
Hey, Rey Mysterio Jr. is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, okay? And that guy is barely 5'5". Come on.
Exactly.
What about you, Alexa? What do the guys say when you tell them that you're trying to be a pro wrestler?
Same thing. Like, just they kind of look at me weird, and they're like, whoa. Like, really? That's what you want to do? And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes they just look at me, and I'm like, like WWE, and they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
You got to explain it to them, of course.
Yeah, always.
Now, what about your parents? We talked about your friends, but Brianna, what about your parents there? How did they react when you told them that you're going to pursue this dream seriously?
Well, whenever the very first time I told them I wanted to be a wrestler, they were like, okay, just wait a couple of years, you'll grow out of that. Like they were just like, they didn't really believe it because I was 14 and I was like, I want to be a pro wrestler. They're like, okay, we'll just wait a couple of years if you still have that, and go for it.
Alexa,
but, after it became more and more serious, more years went by, and I still wanted to do it. They were like, all right, go for it. You know?
That's pretty cool. Alexa, did they try to use you as a voice of reason to talk Brianna out of it, and then you disappointed them by telling them you're going to do it too?
Well, what's funny is at first Brianna was the only one who wanted to be a professional wrestler.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah. I actually wanted to pursue a career in basketball.
Oh, wow.
For the longest time. And then eventually I was like, well, I go to this small little private school, there's no way I'm going to get noticed. And then I was like, I kind of like watched a lot of wrestling with Brianna, and I was kind of always like really interested in it, and I just like loved it and everything they do charity wise and interacting with the fans and such. And I was like, that would be a really cool career.
Yep, that's a good point.
So I just sudden career change, and that's where I was headed. And by then, our parents were totally okay with it, totally supportive, and that was pretty cool.
Now, the two of you are really, you've progressed so much in such a short amount of time. I mean, literally, you haven't even been training 6 months, and you're already considered people who are going to move up to the next level. You're going to be having your first match or whatever, which people who go into wrestling school, they don't even make it that far. A lot of folks drop out because it's so grueling, it's so tough to do. Alexa, what would be your advice to folks listening to the show who may be interested in getting into pro wrestling? What's your advice on how to make it to the end there?
Like Brianna said earlier, just keep your foot on the gas pedal, keep going. Like, it does get hard. Nothing's easy, especially right out of high school. Like when you're just trying to find yourself and trying to find what you want to do in life, it's not going to be easy. It never is. So you just gotta keep going. You've gotta have that mindset of just pushing through, taking it one day at a time, and eventually, if you work hard enough, if you just keep going, you'll make it to where you want to be.
That's great stuff. How about you, Brianna? You have anything to add to that?
Yeah, same thing, exact same thing. And if, I would say you need to be sure that you're willing to make all the sacrifices and really put everything you have into it. And that is how, I'm sure that's how you'll make it, Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Brianna, who is your all-time favorite wrestler?
Triple H.
You
all-time favorite.
You like the game. What is it about Triple H that you like so much?
Well, I love his commitment to the business is so strong, and I love his work ethic. Like he's willing to do anything and everything for the business, and he just puts everything into what he does, and it's made him one of the greatest workers of all time,
Oh, boy.
So I really look up to that.
You're going to get some heat tonight because there's a lot of folks out there who can't stand Triple H, okay? They can't stand this guy. So
Oh my goodness.
you really put it out there. Now, how about you? How about you, Alexa? Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
I like Randy Orton.
Oh,
I do.
now, why do you like Randy Orton?
Everything he does in the ring, it's done so smoothly, and it's just, I don't know, it's just really admiring, like, just to watch him. He just, like, perfects everything he does, and I'm not saying this just, like, give him a big head or anything, but he's really talented, and I just love that about him, and I hope to someday be at that level.
That's huge. That's huge. You know, I've said it many times that Randy Orton is perfect in the ring. Every single thing that he does matters, from the way that he walks to the way he delivers a move. And if there were two people that you could study in the history of pro wrestling to learn from, Triple H and Randy Orton, you're doing pretty well for yourself there, lady. So kudos to you there. Now, Brianna, talk to us about Rudy Boy Gonzalez. What does he mean to you as a trainer?
I couldn't ask for a better trainer, in all honesty. He pushes us. He will not let us move on to the next thing until we perfect what we're on. And it's so helpful, and the way he says things, it's like, you get it, you know. And he never gives up on us. He always just pushes us to where we need to be in this business, and really teaches us on how to succeed and how to maintain our mindset and everything like that.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. What's the biggest lesson that you learned from Rudy Boy Gonzalez, Alexa?
The biggest lesson, I think, is commitment, definitely. He preaches about it every single day, commitment. And, at first it was hard to commit, especially, just moving here and having to deal with a lot of stuff. So I think the more he talks about it, the more we began to understand it and learn it, and just, like, learn from our mistakes and just really get in the game and keep our mind focused on wrestling. And we really appreciate, all the advice he's given us and everything he's taught us. That's why we've learned so quickly, is because he's, like, a really great teacher. We couldn't ask for a better trainer, honestly, yeah.
Well, you can really take that to the bank. I mean, this guy has trained Paul London, who was a former WWE tag team champion, Brian Kendrick, tag team champion, Daniel Bryan, who's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. All of these guys learned from Rudy Boy Gonzalez. So I want to share something with you. I reached out to Rudy and I said, hey, I've been talking to all of these veterans in the world of professional wrestling. I want to talk to some young people. I want to talk to some people who are just starting off in their training or who haven't even had their first match. Do you have anybody at the school that you can recommend? And the first thing he says, you got to interview my twins. Okay? You got to interview Alexa and Brianna, because they get it. They're the first ones here to set up the ring and right before everybody else. They're two of the last ones to leave. They respect the business, and they work their butts off. So for Rudy Boy Gonzalez to put you over like that, and he's a guy that is very hard to please.
Yeah.
So for him to put you over like that, I can tell that you both are going to have a bright future in the world of professional wrestling. We're going to have you come back on the show at some point to just update the fans on what you've been up to. I know folks are going to want to follow you as you continue to progress and to support you. Now, before we let you go, do you have anyone out there that you want to give a quick shout out to? We'll start off with Brianna. You want to give a quick shout out to anybody out there?
My parents and my best friends, Nina and Brett. Everybody that's basically my support system. My best friends and my parents and my whole family. I just want to give a shout out to them. Because their support means everything. Absolutely.
Hot tag over to Alexa.
I definitely want to give a shout out to everyone in our class that we're training with. They've been, very helpful since day one. Also, of course, everyone in my family and all my friends back at home and all my new friends here, everybody that I work with. I mean, everyone's just so amazing, so supportive, and so interested in, what we do. And I love talking about it, and I love that they're there to listen. So I think that's awesome.
Wow. Well, you heard it here, folks. We are talking about Alexa and Brianna, a.k.a. Sugar and Spice. Keep your eyes open and keep it locked on Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook and Twitter, because I'm telling you right now, any updates on these two, we're going to keep you informed.
All right, thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Up next, the Boston Bad Boy tags in a special guest for Ask Duke. But before we get to any of that, I have to remind you to head over to Barnyard Cheese. That's right, Barnyard Cheese over at 149 Avenue C, between 9th and 10th Streets in New York City. Last week, Boston Bad Boy, I told you about the French picnic sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Reminded me of warm summer days.
Hey, let's oui. But this week, I'm jumping off the sandwiches this week. I'm going over to a salad. Okay, but not just any salad.
Are you saying I got to cut back on the sandwiches?
Well, it may be time here. We got to cut the bread out here.
Well, what do you got for me?
Get some more greens. Get this, the Popeye salad. Go. That's right.
Let me guess. Spinach?
Yeah. Don't get ahead of yourself.
All right.
Okay, but that was a great guess.
I'm starving here. Get on with it.
All right. Ingredients: fresh spinach, diced smoked turkey, sliced apples, dried cranberries, delicious bacon, crunchy pecans, savory crumbled blue cheese, and listen, that's all topped with a delicious raspberry vinaigrette.
Any salad that includes bacon and blue cheese, it's good in my book.
Dude, everything is better with bacon. Come on.
Absolutely.
All right, so stop depriving yourself of deliciousness.
When you going to take me there?
Hey, we got to go. Well, let's visit barnyardcheese.com for more info. Enjoy.
This is Scoot Andrews, the Black Nature Boy, and you're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
So, folks, the Boston Bad Boy, Iron Mike Pelosi, every week he's always running off at the mouth, and I'm always trying to rein this guy in. Okay, he talks about that big word that I hate when he uses, the C word, and I think
not that C word.
Well,
conspiracy.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Well, I think it's gotten him in trouble because this guy walked into the secret location a little ginger today.
Yeah.
Okay. But tell us what's wrong with you there.
I mouthed off about a few of our wrestling people in the industry, and they met me in a dark alley, and I tell you, CM Punk was not happy.
The best in the world. He should have made you go to sleep, all right? That's what you get.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got some sort of a nerve issue in my shoulder or whatever. I'm as fragile as Daniel Bryan. Let me put it that way.
Oh, my goodness. You're just a
So I'm just going to sit out today just because I'm completely exhausted. I don't want to mess up the podcast any more than I usually do. So I brought in some backup.
Well, hopefully the backup isn't as much of a Daniel Bryan basher as you are, because we're just not going to put up with that this week, okay? I'm going to tell you right now.
What do you think about that backup?
Daniel Bryan basher, I mean, is that a thing? Is that what we've come to?
Wait a second. Is that the most respected? Is that the man from Remember to Hit Record, Mr. Lovell Porter?
Brother Duke, you knew I'd come. Wait, that's not exactly how it goes, is it?
I don't think that's how it goes at all. That's just you.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. I'm coining it. It's mine now.
Oh,
if Matt has a problem with it, he can talk to me after the show.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You guys are going to do this third segment of the show, but I'm here. And if I hear any crap,
oh boy,
I'm jumping in. And I don't expect any crap from Lavelle, but I know that Duke's going to mouth off about something I disagree.
Listen, me mouth off never. Me and you with the mega powers.
That's right.
The mega powers. Give me a break.
All right, get on with it, the two of you.
Yeah, my goodness. So, Lovell Porter, you actually took some time from your shrine to Nia Jax to join us on the Duke Loves Rasslin podcast, huh?
You do realize that I'm standing in the room with the shrine, right?
I'm sure you are. And, she listens to this show. Word on the street is that she locks her doors because of you. I'm telling you.
That makes her a smart woman.
I'm telling you. Lovell Porter from WrestleZone.com. Okay, so we have our Ask Duke session here, and I'm sure that the Boston Bad Boy has sent you the listener-submitted questions. So what do you have for us?
I have it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First question comes from this is actually a pretty good name. Don't call me buddy.
Don't call me buddy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not your buddy guy. I'm not your guy friend. That's an old South Park week. That's pretty good.
Nice.
What are your thoughts on Raw's ratings continue to drop?
Oh, okay. So something tells me that this was a plant by the Boston Bad Boy, but okay, all right. Well, my thoughts on Raw's ratings dropping. Listen, football just started, folks. Okay, Monday Night Football, and as we know, every single year when Monday Night Football starts up, the Raw ratings take a little dip. So that's okay. What's most important is the fan interaction as the show is going on. Monday Night Raw and WWE in general still trends number one in the world during the hours of 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. So for most of that 3-hour block, things that are going on Raw still trend number one in the world. So that means that there is a tremendous amount of fan participation. They're paying attention. They're interacting with the product, what have you. So, I don't really put too much stock into the Raw ratings. I know that television watching in general has shifted a lot, especially in the past 2 years. A lot of folks are taking their time. They're DVRing things and what have you. Appointment television, I should say, is really not what it once was because you can always watch it later. And a lot of folks will, like I said, they interact online with the product and, watch it that way. So, buddy, you're not my buddy. You got that right. And hey, don't pay too much attention to the Raw rating.
Oh, okay. Good answer. All right, the next question is coming in from Brother Charlie.
Brother Charlie. Okay, is that your brother there, Porter?
It's not my brother. I'm pretty sure he might be related to Matt and Maxwell over there. That seems to be their gimmick these days.
Okay, what do you got?
Let's see. Is Alexa Bliss worthy of being featured as often as she has been on SmackDown? And should they focus more on other lady wrestlers? Lady wrestlers.
Oh.
I don't know if I like that phrase, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what would you call them if they're not lady wrestlers?
Women wrestlers.
Oh, excuse me.
Let's show some respect to the Queen Mother Nia Jax.
Wow.
Women wrestlers.
First of all, Porter, Brother Charlie's asking about SmackDown. You're talking about Nia Jax over here. Listen, I don't
know if you realize this, but all roads lead back to Nia Jax.
Oh, my goodness. You and your infatuation with that woman. Listen, Brother Charlie, I adore Alexa Bliss. I mean, she is pint-sized, and she is just a bowl of energy. She really understands her gimmick. She rolls her eyes at the fans. She's nasty in the ring. She makes everything she does matter in the ring. I just adore her. I'm over the moon, and I really think that she should win the Women's Championship much sooner than later. Because I'll tell you right now, Becky Lynch, I don't know about her so much anymore, okay? I know that when she's in there with talent that is above her, she shines. But when she's in there with talent that may be not as experienced as her, she flounders, okay? Botchamania, that's what I call it, because she's always making a bunch of mistakes. But somebody like Alexa Bliss, everything she does, she's making count. I adore the young lady there. I think she's great. As far as featuring women more, of course, I love women's wrestling. So there's never enough women's wrestling as far as I'm concerned. We can always feature the ladies more, but they have to actually do the right thing in the ring, okay? And Becky Lynch, she's hit or miss sometimes, but Alexa Bliss, she's a can't miss.
Wow, that's I think that might be the definition of a hot take.
Listen, I rhymed on it, Jack, okay? Listen, you better believe it.
Don King rhymes too. That doesn't mean you take it seriously either.
So would you stop? Come on. Okay.
Just saying.
What's
next? I'm not
next?
saying, but I'm saying.
What's next? You're a wise guy.
All right. The next question is from Wu Train 2.
Wu Train. Is that Wu Train or is that Woo Train?
It's actually Wu as in Wu-Tang. It's a W and a U.
Can I jump in here for a minute? Because I'm in such pain right now, and most of the pain is brought on by these insane names of friends of Duke. I'm glad Lovell can see the pain that I have to go through every week dealing with these fictitious, I think, people with these crazy names. What is this?
Listen,
he can't even read the name. It's like a bunch of symbols and uppercase letters.
Don't insult the listeners. This is not right here, okay? Gosh.
Maybe it's just it's the shoulder it's talking. I don't know.
Listen.
I don't know. I'm starting to think that these names might have caused the shoulder. My shoulder's starting to tighten up a little bit.
Oh, jeez. You know what? This is a work-related injury. You're going to be hearing from my lawyer, Duke.
You two are out of your mind. Listen, if it's Wu Train, I'll tell you something. The president of the Boston City Council is Michelle Wu, who happens to be a good friend of mine. Shout out to Michelle Wu and her great staff out there. So if it's you, Michelle, hey, thanks for listening to the show. Woo, that's right.
I want to know what happened to Wu Train 1. I guess that's what's confusing everybody here.
This is number 2. This is 2.0 here. You know? All right, what does Wu Train 2 say?
Mr. 2 says, I think Jason Jordan has a shot at being world champ within a few years. How long do you think it will take?
Oh, Jason Jordan, one half of American Alpha, the hottest tag team in the WWE today. He's on the SmackDown brand, by the way. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. It's funny. When I think about tag team wrestling, when I think about wrestlers in general, some of the top wrestlers in the history of the business were in great tag teams at the beginning of their career. So when you look at a guy like Ric Flair, he was a tag team champion with Greg the Hammer Valentine. When you look at a guy like Ron Simmons, he was a tag team champion with Butch Reed and Doom. I mean, geez, even Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was in the Hollywood Blondes with Flying Brian Pillman. So tag team wrestling is a great way for somebody to continue to develop their skills and move up into the limelight where eventually they become a world champion on their own. I think Jason Jordan, without a doubt, is a future world champion. And if I were to put the belt on him, I wouldn't do so for another 2 or 3 years because American Alpha just made it up to the SmackDown brand, so they're still just getting their feet on solid ground here. They haven't even won the tag team championships yet. So let's have them win the championship and then lose it, win it back, split up as a tag team and feud with each other for a little while. And then if the two brands, SmackDown and Raw, are separate 2.5, 3 years from now, then take the both of them and put them on separate brands and let them thrive. But I think Jason Jordan, absolutely, in about 3 years, he could be in the world title picture. Absolutely. He is that damn good.
Okay. So it's pretty. I don't know if that would constitute a hot take, but that's a good answer. But you know what? Though, Duke, are you sitting down?
Of course I'm sitting down. What are you, a wise guy? Of course I'm sitting down.
All right, enough of that. It's time for a Boston Badboy / Lovell Porter question.
Oh, my Buddha. Here we go with the nonsense now. Yep. Okay, listen. Do not. I'm going to tell you right now, Porter. Okay? Lovell Porter from WrestleZone.com. Do not act like the Boston Bad Boy, Iron Mike Pelosi, with this
I'm still
question.
sitting in the same room, man. I can see, I can hear everything you're saying about me.
Don't be like this guy, okay? Do the right thing.
I said to you earlier, as we're like Jamaica Powers, we're doing the handshake across the city right now.
Listen,
you can't see it, but I'm holding my wrist. Holding it out.
This is a Spike Lee joint. Do the right thing, okay? Come on.
All right, here we go with the question that needs to be answered today that you've been avoiding.
Oh, Lord.
You said, was it sometime last week or was it the week before? You said that TNA is only worthy of their tape library and that the WWE should buy them and then close them up forever as a company just like they did WCW. Why would you say something so flat out insensitive and pretty much ridiculous?
What? Are you crazy, Porter?
Ridiculous.
All right. First of all, listen. And I have a lot of folks in TNA that I'm very fond of. That's
obvious.
Yeah, well,
obviously.
hey,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's even some folks in TNA that I'm a little afraid of, like Sienna. Listen, Sienna, please. Not only do I not want you to hurt Brandy Rose, but please don't hurt me, what I'm about to say here. TNA is only worth their tape library, okay? It literally is a waste of money to operate them as a separate brand on television. God. It's ridiculous because you know why? It's a horrible wrestling show. It's a horrible wrestling show. It will be a money loser as opposed to their tape library, which the WWE can put on the WWE network and generate some buzz, some funds from.
What are you okay, so this, if I had like a week to explain why what you said doesn't make sense.
You don't have a week, wise guy.
I know, that's the
You know
problem.
what, Lavelle, take a week. No, go ahead, take a week. Anything to shut him up.
My goodness.
Okay, so first of all, never mind the fact that pretty much the death of professional wrestling happened when WWE bought WCW. Like, once there's no competition, there's nothing. There's nothing there. At the end of the day, if you want the business to thrive, there needs to be competition. Regardless of whether or not WWE is actually the owners of TNA, if they build into a viable brand and make an actual conflict between the two companies, how would that not be what's best for business? Explain this to me.
Do you understand what it takes to operate a pro wrestling business? Do you understand the amount of money? And first of all, when you do a live event in the pro wrestling business, especially when you're on the level of WWE, you're actually losing money by doing that. You make your funding back from the advertising, from the television revenue, from the social media hits, from merchandise that's sold as you do the advertising during the show. That's where you make your money at, because actually putting on the show, it literally, your money is walking out of the door, okay? So for the WWE to take a loser like TNA, okay, and continue to operate, it just doesn't make any sense. In fact, you can hear your kids in the background. They even feel the same way that I do about this nonsense here, okay, Porter? You must have bumped your head.
You listen, don't go there.
Hey.
Don't go there. They're actually banging on the door to try to get in so they can explain to you how much Uncle Duke is wrong on this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, TNA is a money pit. Okay.
Listen, never mind the fact that you want to basically destabilize the wrestling industry by making it a total and complete monopoly at that point. Your idea puts hundreds of people out of work. You're okay with that?
Listen, don't you ever accuse the Duke of wanting to put people out of work. I want to help people keep their jobs. You know how they're going to keep their jobs? By remaining profitable. The WWE absorbs that talent just like they did when they closed down WCW. Okay, they may have a couple of separate brands like NXT, like SmackDown, like Raw. There's plenty of work for everybody, okay? You take the best and the brightest from TNA, and everybody else can go to Japan, Ring of Honor, some other place. All right? That's how it works, pal. WWE is the big dog in the yard, and if you can't survive, if you can't run a business properly, I'm talking to you, Panda Energy. I'm talking to you, Dixie Carter. If you can't survive in the wrestling industry, get out of Vince McMahon's way, Jack.
You have little to no faith in anyone but you.
And Vince McMahon, okay? VKM.
Clearly you don't, because if you had faith in Vince McMahon, you would think that he would actually be able to take TNA and turn it into at least what NXT is. Do you honestly think that if they take talent from TNA, they're going to have any spots for them on WWE TV?
Hey, working out so far. Working out so far.
It's not. Look at what they're doing to people like Apollo Crews. They don't have anything for him to do. There was no reason for them to bring him up to the main roster to begin with. And look what's happening to him. He's a joke.
Well, Apollo Crews has nothing to do with TNA, first of all. That's number one. Get your facts straight. Whoa.
I wasn't done.
You don't know anything about what you're talking about there, Porter, because Apollo Crews was never in TNA, first of all. And second of all, he's a smiley-faced, pint-sized little jerk who needs to learn how to sell. That's why he's not thriving. Don't get me started here, Jack.
He's not thriving because he's not being put in a position to do so. Even
Hey, to your neutral corners, fellas.
No, I'm getting a little sick and tired of this guy here, Pelosi.
Look at somebody even like Baron Corbin. They have nothing for him to do. That's one of the reasons why Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews are quote-unquote feuding, is because they have nothing to do. So if you enter in people into this mix, such as like Drew Galloway or EC3, what do you think they're going to be doing on WWE TV?
You tell me.
Nothing. There's nothing for them to do. There's not enough space. Even though the WWE is giving us a whopping 25 hours of programming.
There's a simpler explanation for this, my friend.
Go ahead.
Conspiracy.
Oh, that's it.
Oh.
That's it. You know what? I'm pulling the plug. I'm getting rid of Lovell Porter from Remember to Hit Record and WrestleZone.com. I'm pulling the plug on Iron Mike Pelosi. The two of you had the audacity to try to tag team me, and just when things were getting a little civil, he had to say the conspiracy word. That's it, folks. Listen, we want to thank Sugar and Spice. We're talking about the twins, Alexa and Brianna, for joining the show. They were fantastic. Head over to Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know who you agree with. Join us next week where we're going to have another great guest. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be that Lovell Porter if he's going to keep arguing with the Duke.
I'm telling you, Lovell,
All right?
it's a conspiracy.
No.
It's a conspiracy.
I'm sick of the two